A scary new law has been passed in Australia to keep people safe. It will require people to log their identification before they can get onto most social media sites, opening up people for prosecution for anything that they may say that the government may not like. Major news out of Australia, like I said. We have big news coming out of Syria as well. We haven't heard much from Syria recently. Well, it's in the news. Basically, ISIS-backed groups have just done a blitzkrieg and have grabbed a major city in Syria, and they are moving on a second larger city with huge implications. There's word out there that Turkish backing may be happening right now. The United States may be partially involved. It is a food fight over there, and we're seeing a lot of very troubling, disturbing videos coming out, execution of prisoners. A lot of crazy stuff. We need to talk about that. It is going to impact things on the world stage. We now have a FBI director has been named by President Trump. We'll talk about that. We also have the latest on the sunset cucumbers. We're going to tell you where they're being sold. A bunch of you guys have reported in on that. So we want to cover that. And we're going to have a real quick brief word about those of you who are concerned with the seemingly gendered name for this community of the Watchmen. I hope to settle your minds and your hearts on that. Everyone is welcome here, and we are so glad you are all part of this. So welcome to the Watchmen community. And on the Poplar Report, I'll work on that intro, where we watch for danger and we seek to warn others about what's coming. So if you have an update, make sure you use the word update somewhere in your comment. That gets it to the right place. And before we dive in, we do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They help people who have retirement accounts to move over into gold, silver, platinum. They also make their prepper bars in silver and gold. If you just want to invest in precious metals and you like the idea of fractional silver that you can trade little pieces of, there'll be more info that you can get at the end of the video by clicking on the link. All right. I posted this comment on under a few people who raised these concerns, so I just want to read this out to you guys all. Hopefully it clarifies things. I hope this communicates my heart not to leave out anyone in our awesome community. Just as the word women has men in it, so Watchmen has the word or letters MEN in it as well. But women are not men. I think we can all agree on that. And Watchmen in English is not a gendered word. Just as women is not a masculine word, watchman is not necessarily a masculine word either. We have words such as human and mankind, which do not refer to just men. Watchman is neither meant by me to be gendered, nor is it understood in proper English grammar to be gendered. The definition of watchman, according to the dictionary, is a person who keeps watch. So, I love you all, and I know most of you are on board. A few of you who had concerns, I wanted to address those because words are important. I get that. Words are important. So, let's move into the news here. If you have any personal questions or anything like that beyond that, pop them down in the comments below. If you absolutely hate me and my guts and everything like that because of that, there are plenty of other wonderful communities on YouTube that can be there too. So I'd love for you to be here, but it's a free country so far still, right? All right, so let's talk about Syria, where it's not a free country and people are experiencing some really horrible things. Rebel groups, now there are like 10 rebel groups, depending on how you slice and dice them. There's a lot of rebel groups. Some of them are supported by the U.S. government, some by Turkish government, some by Kurdish political parties, some by, and there's religions going this way and that throughout this whole thing too. It is one big mess. For the most part, there's been basically the Syrian government, and then there's been kind of the rebel groups. And the rebel groups kind of are a spectrum. Some of them are more aligned with the government, and some are more about chopping off people's heads and throwing diversity people from the top of buildings. So basically the diversity tossing people Al-Nusra is basically Al-Qaeda, and they are very much backed by ISIS. Some of them actually have ISIS patches on them. That just kind of gives you an idea where we're headed. As they captured the city of Aleppo in the north, there were ISIS flags being flown. The United States has come out, even though a lot of people saying this looks like Al-Nusra or HTS has U.S. backing of some sort. The United States has State Departments come out and said, absolutely not. We are not supporting them in any way, shape, or form. Which I don't really believe, but okay, we'll at least say that that's what they've said, okay? A lot of people accusing the Turkish government of having direct support for Al-Nusra and HTS and the ISIS elements. Those organizations apparently captured the center of Aleppo. Now, while we've had, it was a couple years back, there was a battle over Aleppo, and it went on for like a year. I mean, it was like just back and forth throughout the whole city. I mean, just absolutely horrific. It might have been more than a couple of years ago. Absolutely horrific. And so just the fact that they were approaching Aleppo 2 days ago, people said there seems to be an offensive heading towards Aleppo. And boom, they've captured Aleppo just in lightning speed. In fact, they've actually traveled two hours north, 2 hours south, and actually invaded Hama, which is on the outskirts of Homs, which is that's starting to get into the inner ring of around Damascus. That's a big deal. They just went right through them like Blitzkrieg style, lightning war. And this is kind of got a lot of people shocked that they were able to do this. Now, part of it seems like a lot of these rebel groups suddenly started working together. Groups like the SDF, which is mostly Kurdish, they do not like the ISIS guys. They do not like Al-Nusra. They've mostly been fighting with those groups. They've actually had some, I have some sources that I know, reliable sources, that there's been tacit ceasefires between Syrian army and SDF and some of these Kurdish forces. Like, while they're enemies, they've actually coordinated, they've actually worked together, had areas where their forces would move through peacefully through each other and to do the things that they need to do without shooting at each other. So they've actually been getting along quite well in some places with the Syrian government forces. So surprisingly, they actually coordinated here, and they actually seized the airport around Aleppo, and they're holding it. Now, they have no intention, apparently, of letting Al-Nusra have it, now, I believe that the SDF does have some logistical connections to the United States, and so there's stuff going on here. It's very complicated. All you need to know is big stuff, and the ISIS folks have taken downtown Aleppo, and there have been videos of people losing things and prisoners being executed, and there's videos out there, gruesome videos, floating around on X and everything like that. Don't recommend seeking them out. I'm just telling you that there's a lot of really awful stuff out there coming out about this. All right, moving on to awful stuff, let's talk about the FBI. Kash Patel has been nominated for a Golden Globe, for the director of the FBI, which is better since he's a brilliant lawyer and investigator who has spent his career exposing corruption, and he played a pivotal role in uncovering the Russia hoax against Donald Trump. And those are mostly what things Donald Trump's office basically just said. So he seems about as good as we could possibly hope for. It's probably not going to be a great job for him because it's probably going to be very short. We hope it's going to be very short, and hopefully he gets a new job after the FBI gets completely closed down, which is what we're really hoping for. So hopefully the Secretary of Education, hopefully she gets a nice, great job inside the administration after her department gets shut down. Hopefully Kash Patel gets a great new job after his his division gets shut down, the FBI. But good word out there on him. He's tough as nails and has no love for the deep state. All right, Australia, where more evil stuff is happening. Australia, who shows absolutely no concern for children whatsoever, mutilating them and all sorts of stuff with their laws and everything like that. They've passed a law banning children from social media. Why do you ask? To protect them. And that should make you kind of go, what's the real reason? Well, now everyone who tries to log on to social media in Australia will have to have verified identification. Now, this just got passed. It's not being implemented immediately. I believe it starts implementing about 1 year from now. But reading between the lines, it looks like everyone's going to have to present identification to get a universal kind of code or something like that. So basically, you're going to have like a digital papers that you're going to have to show before you get onto any website or whatever. It's not just your login. It's also like it has to show that you're you, so that when you post something on social media, they know it's you who did it. There's no anonymous anymore. Everyone has a name attached to them, and the government can see exactly who's saying what. You can see where this is going, friends. Well, it's great if you want to prosecute people for what they post, but it's not good for freedom and freedom of speech. The Wild Wild West days of the internet are coming to a close. And the Gestapo, the digital Gestapo, is coming. Papers, please. And make sure you don't have this little star saying you're a conservative on there, huh? Timothy says Biden is asking Congress for $24 billion more for Ukraine. And that surprises just about nobody. We've seen that. Haven't mentioned it, so yeah, we'll throw that out there. You've probably seen that on other sites and stuff like that. But Rose Petal says sun-fed produce is grown in Sonora, Mexico, and is based in Arizona. Pokey Puppy says Instacart says that Sunset cucumbers, now this is the major recall we have out there, are available at Kroger and at Aldi. Another watchman spotted them being removed at Martin's Foods. And Kathleen, another watchman, saw them, got an email alert from Walmart that their cucumbers were affected too. So it may not be all of the Aldis and all of the Krogers and all of the Walmarts, and maybe just in certain areas. But if you've gotten cucumbers recently, check to see if they are sun-fed cucumbers, because they have been recalled. Maya says, I don't know if it's the same in the USA, but in Canada, my adult brother, about 2 weeks back, had a pancreatitis. That's the word. Pancreatitis attack. So the nurse gave him fentanyl. He was shocked. She said, yes, that's what we give for pain. My mother and I were also shocked. He said on a phone call to us later, well, if it's good and I need more, can I just go out on a street corner and pick up a prescription? That's really not funny. That's not funny. Obviously, overdosing is the thing, right? I mean, it's like this much can work for you if it's pure. But I mean, if people are making it on the street or if it's coming from China, who knows if it's okay or not to consume? And then it's like just a little bit too much, because it's so powerful, can overdose you, right? I mean, it's that so powerful, right? A lot of pharmaceutical drugs have street versions, right? That's where some of them came from, right? All right. Wonders if this has something to do with what's driving this North American epidemic. Also in my small town, north central Alberta, there are 24-hour periods. They have to close the hospital ward down because they're so short on doctors. Yay for communism and socialism and all that. If you have an emergency, you have to drive an hour either north or west, but phone first to see if their emergency department is even open. I just love Canadian healthcare. They put that there. Canadians put it there. It's not hate speech coming from an American, okay? This is all thanks to Trudeau taking doctors' tax breaks away. Too expensive to run a practice. Doctors are fleeing in droves. Government-run healthcare. What could possibly go wrong? Well, turns out just about everything. Now, I'm not saying the United States is a beacon of hope and freedom, because the United States is very much a socialized medicine nightmare as well. Where you need to go is you need to go down to Mexico, to the private clinics down there. You need to go to Costa Rica. You need to go to the Philippines, Indonesia, some of the international hospitals like in Thailand and in India. They got where you can pay practically nothing to get American-trained doctors who went to American universities, did their what's it called? Not interning, but they're interning in the United States. I forget the they're clinicals. That's it, right? They did those in the United States, and then they've now moved back home. And that's why they're fully trained there. And yeah, they charge you a lot more than they'll charge the locals down the street. But you can pick your own doctors and everything like that. That's the way to get major surgeries done that are not super urgent. Hopefully the United States figures out how to go back to capitalism and gets these insurance companies out of business as quickly as possible. Old Hippie Homesteaders says a store in a mountain area of Northern California usually puts marked down meat out at 7 a.m. every morning. They suddenly stopped, and I asked the butcher. He said higher-ups told them to throw it out. Throw it out. So many people, including me, depend on this meat. They'd rather throw it out than sell it to you at discount. That tells you everything you need to know about the owners and managers of that company, doesn't it? This is from A. Up here in New Hampshire, Black Friday was a chaotic mess, but things that were being bought were a lot of basics. I went to a couple different stores, to Walmart's, Bass Pro Shop, Tractor Supply, and BJ's, and things that were selling out were all the basic stuff. Underwear, socks, stuff like that. So people were using the sales in order to stock up on the things that they need to buy anyway. Generally, the shelves were fronted, but not full. I've been wondering when that would finally be coming up in this area. We have been prepping our own self and our family and friends with anyone who will listen. God bless my fellow watchmen. Carry on. Indeed. Don says, update on green peppers. Today at Walmart, there was absolutely zero green peppers. I reside in Slidell, Louisiana. Mini Homestead Cooking says, no eggs in Bismarck, North Dakota. They said, supply chain issues when asked. Angie Bird says, North Carolina, Helene, tiny homes. So we got an update here on that. In Marshall, North Carolina, State Fire Marshal said, I think it's ST Fire Marshal, I think it's state, said they don't meet code and they could not be used for shelter, even temporarily. So we're getting more and more confirmations. Those initial reports were absolutely true and potentially more widespread than what we were initially reporting. Deep River Homestead Wayne over there, Deep River Farm, Wayne confirmed a bunch of those things happening over there, and other channels have as well. Follow-up was that there are FEMA trailers that people qualified for, but due to various codes cannot be delivered. So they have the FEMA trailers, supposedly. The reasons were that they cannot put them in flood zones. Some people's whole properties are now considered flood zones within the floodplain, and the locations that they are now occupying are not on their property. They also have issues with delivery due to many roads still being out. Logging roads, fire break roads, and roads not installed by the DOT. The only roads in are not safe enough, quote unquote, to transport the trailers up the mountains. They've had freezing temperatures and snow often the last couple of weeks. Their tragedy has fallen out of the 5-minute news cycle. Not here on this channel. We're going to keep on that. In fact, we may ramp that up in just a little bit. I've been away from home for the most part, but we'll see about that. We got some things brewing in the background. They need propane heaters, blankets, and safe shelter before winter sets in fully. Last I heard from Wayne over at Deep River Farm, I always want to say homestead, he's saying that that the cash is what they really need right now. They need to pay for gas. They need to pay for propane. They need to get these things up to people, and they need to buy bits and bobs to fill in the gaps for what has been donated of goods. So cash is what's really needed by these ministries right now. So if you want to help, please look that direction and not in the heater direction. They have lots and lots of heaters for now. We'll let you know as soon as they run out of those things and they need more of those, okay? There is a deal right now on Big Buddy heaters. They just went on sale, so we'll find out more about that. Arlene says, I'm on a fixed income. During the summer months, I can my own food. It is helping me get by with these prices going up almost weekly. Thank God for your program. It helps me know what to stock up on so I can be prepared. This channel and the Watchmen here are really making an impact. I'm so glad you guys are a part of this. If you're watching this, you're a part of this. If you're submitting reports, you're a part of this. And if you're hitting that like button, you're a part of this. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold about what you can do with your retirement account, there's a link right there on the screen. Thanks so much for watching. Steve Poplar of The Poplar Report, out.